All right, welcome in to the Pharmacist and the Photog Games, Grooves, and Grub. I am the Pharmacist Dion Spencer alongside the Photog Steve Moss.
Yo.
And we're going to spend the next little bit talking about sports, music, and food and beverage like we usually do. But we're going to depart just a little bit from the last couple weeks, and that we're not going to start with the negative. We are going to start with the positive, and the positive being Mark Pope's got a squad.
Do you think so?
I think Mark Pope's got a squad.
I thought Kentucky fans who watched that exhibition game against Purdue have to be smiling. I know you're, going on and on about it, so it must be good.
Yeah.
I thought they looked pretty good.
Yeah.
All things considered, the number one team in the preseason poll comes into town, and you pretty much had your way with them.
Yeah. 13-point win with two perceived very good starters not even on the floor. I mean, is it a total overreaction on our part? Yeah, probably.
Kentucky fans don't overreact.
Yeah, I mean, we don't overreact.
What are you talking about?
But I mean, I'm going to have to walk a fine line here over the next few weeks, because if I don't get some construction projects done upstairs, my wife's going to be really mad when I start building the stadium seating that we've been talking about for a while. The number 9 bench over here. But we said it last week that we felt like, it's an exhibition game, but neither one of these teams is going to want to come in and just lay an egg. And not saying Purdue laid an egg, but Kentucky looked really good considering what we were expecting with Jalen Lowe and Jaden Quaintance on the bench.
And Oweh probably not going, 100% balls to the wall because of the turf toe.
Right.
He looked good, though, in the minutes he played.
He only played 16?
Yeah, something like that. I thought, and I think we talked about Pope would probably tinker a little bit, especially at that point guard position with Lowe out. I thought all the guys that he ran out front there playing that position for Jalen Lowe, I thought they all looked good.
Yeah.
Jasper Johnson ended up leading Kentucky with 15 points. But I just thought it was a pretty balanced effort. This team has a lot of bounce. This team is pretty fast up and down the court.
They're big.
And they are big. They're very big. And you're talking about a Purdue team that probably has 3 or 4 guys on that squad that are like 7'1", 7'2". But in typical Purdue fashion, they'll get there at some point during the season, but to me, in typical Purdue fashion, they're bigs, not able to get up and down the floor with Kentucky.
Right, and that's, like you said, that's been Purdue's big man MO for, God grief, as long as I've been watching. That's Big Ten basketball for you. But I mean, that was a point of concern or worry for Kentucky fans, I think, is, oh gosh, how are we going to handle, the other team's centers without Quaintance in the lineup? And man, I don't think we've been hearing it all preseason during practice and everything. Everybody has been saying that Malachi Moreno has surprised everybody. And, in high school, Malachi was lucky if he ever saw a guy that was within 5 or 6 inches of him.
Right.
And to go up against a guy the other night that was taller than him, 7'4" and about 260, and not only did he hold his own, I think he outplayed the Purdue center. Kid looked good. He was 4 for 5 from the field, grabbed a few rebounds,
had a couple nice dunks.
Yeah, I mean, so I feel like
missed a dunk.
Is Malachi going to face much more athletic, smaller centers that are going to give him trouble?
Yes.
Absolutely, he's going to face that. But you got to like the confidence probably that's going to give him, and he's just going to continue to get bigger and stronger and smarter about how to play the college basketball game. And
because there were flashes where he looked like a freshman, like a deer in headlights, wanting to put the ball on the floor. Still doesn't have the greatest handle in the world, but he made some terrific passes. And he grabbed some rebounds, and I thought he played pretty daggone good.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. But early in the summer when they started practicing, I think Coach Pope commented a time or two. He said there are times when Malachi Moreno looks like he's ready for the league now, and then there are other times he looks like he's walked into the gym and we said, this young man is a basketball. Put it in that hoop. So, yeah, he's going to have his struggles as far as, adjusting to the college basketball game. But you got to be, if you're a Kentucky fan, you got to be a little bit excited about the way he played. And I can honestly see him very quickly maybe taking some of Brandon Garrison's minutes, because I think he's going to work really hard and play really hard. He's got the same attitude as his brother, Michael, who played at Eastern Kentucky University and was basically all-world for that level. So Malachi's a good kid, and I think he's going to work really hard to get where he needs to be.
I think what Brandon Garrison has on him is probably, obviously, he's got, he's played the game a little longer at the college level. He's probably a little more tougher, but that stuff will come.
Yeah.
When Malachi starts putting on some weight, plays the game a little more, and gets into the flow of things. I was pleasantly surprised. Pope played 10 guys, and none of them played less than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So the amount of time that those guys were in the game, pretty balanced. Diabate had 9 rebounds, and he looked like a dude.
Yeah, 8 points, 9
rebounds,
like a dude. 2
Some
blocks, 2 steals. He's the guy that we've been missing the last couple of years as far as aggressiveness.
And Yelovich played 19 minutes. We didn't know what he would end up looking like, but there were stretches where he and Moreno were in the game at the same time, and I thought they looked pretty good together.
Yeah, and you got to think he's still kind of behind the 8 ball a little bit. He's a month at least, or 6 weeks probably, behind everybody else as far as practice with this team. So I think of course, he's got the European professional experience behind him. He's going to be all right. It's just going to take him a little bit to kind of adjust, I think, to the system and get his feet wet.
And then Denzel Aberdeen, who filled in probably more Friday night at point guard than anybody, played 21 minutes, and I thought he looked very comfortable.
Yeah, 9 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists, I think, is what his line looked like. So, yeah, Kentucky shot 9 for 29 from the field or from three-point range. I think, obviously Pope would like to see that percentage improve a little bit, but guys weren't afraid to shoot.
No, and Pope's in the ballpark at 29. I think he wanted to shoot, 31 threes?
Yeah.
At least that's a goal, a target for those guys to shoot for. I thought they played very well. At one point, they had about a 15-point lead.
I think their high was 17.
Yeah,
was the high, the largest lead of the game.
And really, Kentucky cruised.
Yeah.
In that game, I think Purdue got it under 10 at one point, but
Kentucky went on they went on a 7-0 run, I think, at that point.
Yeah,
and
there's really never any doubt.
And we do the same thing as Kentucky fans. But you look at the message boards and Purdue fans chirping like, "Well, we didn't shoot the ball well," and I'm like, "Well, maybe the fact that you had a 6'7", 6'10" dude in your face all night." That affects your shooting ability.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe you didn't hit it quite as well as normal, but you got to think Kentucky's defense has a little something to do with that. And that's exciting, too, knowing that I feel like the defense will just get more cohesive and they'll communicate better, hopefully, as the season goes on and be able to switch out. There was a play I remember watching. I didn't get to watch the first half. I was at a function, but then – came on home and got to see the second half. But there was one play where even Malachi Moreno, when your freshman center is in the middle of a rotation and switching off and he's waving another UK player to pick up whoever he's dropping off of, that's a good sign. That's a sign that kid's been coached pretty well. So kudos to our buddy Steve Page here in Georgetown for doing that with Malachi. But yeah, I'm excited, obviously.
Well, they get Georgetown University, the Hoyas, on Thursday of this week. We're recording on a Monday night, and then it starts for real. The one thing that Pope said after the game, he was pleased with the tempo. I think he wants to get up and down the court and get some shots. and he was pleased with the decision making. And we've talked about it here before. You know, as much as Pope wants great athletes, he also talks about having guys who can make decisions on the fly.
Yeah.
And that's a key component to the way his system is run, is that guys need to be able to think on their feet. And for the most part, I think he was pretty pleased with what he saw.
Well, I mean, if we learned anything from the last few years of the Coach Cal era, is that sometimes basketball IQ trumps athleticism from time to time. So it's good to see Coach Pope kind of recruiting to hit all aspects of that. I mean, he's got athletes, he's got some dudes, but I think he also has guys that have high basketball IQ. So pretty exciting to think about what this. I mean, it's a little early to say we're going 40-0, but we won't do that. We won't jinx them like that.
Well, I think I texted you last night. I was watching Duke play an exhibition game at Tennessee, and those guys are good. Cameron Boozer, son of Carlos Boozer.
Yeah.
Freshman, I think he went 23 and 21 last night, 23 points, 21 rebounds against a pretty solid front line at Tennessee.
Yeah.
And the game was in Knoxville. So the Dukies are going to be good. Tennessee is going to be good. There's going to be some really good teams in college basketball this year.
Yeah, no doubt. It's good time to be a sports fan in general, because this is the best time of the year, really, because you got all the football going on.
Well, you have all four major sports.
Yeah, everything's rolling
games.
Right now. Yeah. You know,
college basketball starting.
Yeah, the World Series. Well, briefly, the Game 3's tonight. Much to my surprise, Toronto came out and blew the doors off the Dodgers in Game 1. But the Dodgers bounced back and got the split in Toronto. Tonight, they're playing Game 3, and interestingly enough, the Blue Jays are sending to the mound former Dodger Max Scherzer, and future Hall of Famer. So he is 41 years old, and his ERA has ballooned quite a bit this season. But
but he still knows how to pitch.
He's still a dude.
Scherzer's not gonna go out there and try to blow one by you.
Yeah.
He's becoming Greg Maddux and nibble here, nibble there.
Yeah, he knows how he can beat you.
I still think the Dodgers, though, with that offense,
same. They're
going to win it in 6.
Yeah, I flipped on Game 2 about, I don't know, half inning or so before Ohtani hit his bomb.
Another home run.
Yeah, dude, he's unbelievable. Like I said, he's kind of must see TV. So
true.
Anyway, all right. Well, we got that was that was exciting. Because this next part's going to take a little while. Kentucky, Tennessee football. We got basically what we thought was going to happen. We got the loss.
I didn't think Tennessee would put a 50 burger on them though. 56-34 the final, and frankly, I didn't think Kentucky would score more than 2 touchdowns. Yeah. And lo and behold, Bush Hamden, the offensive coordinator for Kentucky, may have called his best game as a UKOC. Yep. And the one night that he does, Brad White's defense doesn't show up.
Yeah, they laid an egg big time.
They were not good, especially on the back end. Joey Aguilar throwing 5 touchdown passes. Yeah. Or 6.
He was averaging almost 20 yards of completion.
Yeah, and some of the throws, it was like backyard football.
Yeah.
Go long.
Yeah, you and I could have gotten open a handful of times against Kentucky's defense, I believe. It was bad.
Yeah. I was going to say, and a good crowd showed up, so, it was like Kentucky was giving Mark Stoops one last chance, and it didn't turn out well.
Yeah, and again, going back to your comment from last week where you said the old ball coach said stats are for losers.
That's right.
If you look at the box score of this game, if you black out the score and you look at the box score of this football game, you're going to look at it and be like, man, I bet this was a barn burner.
Yeah.
Because Kentucky had 476 yards of offense. Tennessee had 504. Kentucky ran 73 plays. We were talking about UT's up-tempo offense. We ran 73 plays to their 59.
That's pretty impressive. I didn't know that until just now.
Yeah. So
I didn't think the tempo was much of a factor.
No, I didn't.
It was
either.
just, as Mark Stoops said after the game, a couple of his guys back there were playing hurt, and he said, we don't match up well. And to me, that was probably the story of the game, is that Tennessee is a nightmare matchup for Kentucky, just like Kentucky basketball was a nightmare matchup for Purdue.
Right.
Purdue didn't have any answers for that matchup, and Kentucky didn't have an answer for the matchup issues against Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, in Kentucky, again, time of possession, 36 minutes to UT's 24. Of course, that just tells you that Kentucky was holding the ball, and it was kind of ground and pound and dink and dunk kind of passing, and Tennessee was biting it off in chunks, so they didn't need as much time with the football to put the points on the board. But yeah, it's really frustrating to watch, because Cutter Boley, he ended up finishing the game with 330 yards, 5 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. And I saw a really interesting stat today, and it was talking about the number of freshmen, like D1 or FBS, whatever you want to call it, quarterbacks who have thrown for over 300 yards and 5 touchdowns. And there was one other stat that was thrown into that mix, and the list had 3 players on it. And Cutter Boley, C.J. Stroud, and I'm forgetting the third guy who was on there. But that's it. Three players as freshmen who have done that. So
I think it was 74% passing.
Oh, you're right. Yep, that's it.
Yeah. The last 30 years,
yardage.
There's only been 4 quarterbacks to do that in an SEC game.
That's just,
you can see this guy Cutter Boley is growing every single week. He made some runs where he made it a quick decision as opposed to holding on to the ball. He made some runs for first downs. He threw some balls away, but he also made some good throws.
Yeah.
And I just thought he played a great game.
Yeah, there's definitely just a level of growth. Because he didn't play bad last week. In that game, even though we lost, he played. You can see the growth every single week, and so now here we are. I was talking with some guys at work today, and I said my only question is, who's going to make more money next year, Cutter Boley or UK's new football coach?
Well, that's a valid question, and I was thinking about this since the game ended on Saturday night. This, to me, becomes a situation almost like when Tim Couch was a sophomore heading into his junior year. I believe it was his junior year, where he had just previously played for Elliott Uzelak, was the offensive coordinator, and he ran the option.
Yeah.
And you've got Couch sitting on the bench, comes in, runs the option, I guess one game maybe at Florida, and people are going, what are you doing? This guy doesn't need to be running the option.
Right.
So now you have a situation where Cutter Boley will be a sophomore next year. And if you want to bring him back, to me, this is just me and us girls talking here, I think you have to make an offensive hire. And everybody, points to some other guys who are defensive guys. I think you have to go looking. If you're making a decision on Mark Stoops, I think you have to go an offensive coach,
Absolutely.
An offensive-minded coach.
Right.
If you want to bring Cutter Boley back.
Yeah, because, you can say all you want about the fact that these players aren't supposed to be contacted unless they have officially entered the portal. Well, that's garbage. I can tell you right now, there are probably people chirping in Cutter's sphere.
Right.
They are chirping in his sphere saying, you can come here, you can, chuck it around the field and win a national championship.
Yeah, I think the good news is that Cutter Boley has grown each week and has, to this point, become more than even a serviceable quarterback.
Absolutely.
The bad news is Cutter Boley has grown each week and has become more than a serviceable quarterback.
Exactly.
So now other schools are going to want him.
Yeah.
And for Kentucky, if you're going to make a move on Mark Stoops, I don't know that you can bring a John Summerall here.
Right.
Because he's a defensive-minded coach. And I like John. He's a good man and a good coach, obviously. But I think you've got to bring a guy like Will Stein or somebody who's going to have a little more innovation and be a little more offensive-minded to entertain the notion that, like you're talking about, those around Cutter go, okay, We can see what you're going to do here, as opposed to, well, you're bringing in a guy like John Summerall. You know, what are you going to do offensively? Are you going to be able to bring in a good offensive coordinator? I think you answer those questions up front if you bring in a guy like a Will. And I'm not saying Will Stein. I'm all in on Brian Hartline at Ohio State, and I brought his name up last year.
Yeah, yeah.
His brother is already on the staff, Mike Hartline, who was a quarterback at Kentucky.
At UK. Yep.
Brian Hartline is the offensive coordinator at Ohio State, and he recruited all those dudes who are wide receivers in the NFL. I mean, and there are plenty of them.
Yeah, a bunch of good players,
yes,
for sure.
So I'm all in on Brian Hartline. Yeah. If you're going to make him, I don't want Mark Stoops to leave because I'm friendly with that guy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree, but I just feel like at this point, I just don't know that this divide can be bridged at this point.
Well, at some point, it might become like a Joker situation where the fans vote by not coming to games.
Well, I mean, and I get that the other night, you know, it was a Saturday night. It was a little rainy at times.
Well,
for the most of the part, the night it was pretty good. But by the end of the game,
there was a lot of orange
obviously
too,
there was way more orange than there was blue and white near the end. I get it; it's a blowout, but
sure.
You know, it's just not a good look for sure. And we've said all along, we just didn't think Kentucky had the money to fire Stoops. But as we watch all of these other schools fire their coaches, man, the pressure right now on him to produce, he's got to do something miraculous over these last 3-4 games. I mean, what do we got? 4 games left? 5? I don't know, but I do know the games we've got are Florida and
next week they're at Auburn.
At Auburn, Auburn's struggling. They're likely going to fire their coach.
Then you get Florida here, Tennessee Tech, who is undefeated, by the way.
Very good.
That is not do not write in Sharpie a W beside that.
Exactly.
Not the way this season's going. And then you finish the season at Louisville.
Yeah, and we got Vandy too.
Yeah,
we've still got Vandy. We're not beating Vandy.
No,
Louisville's probably a toss-up. I still don't think Louisville is. They're so schizophrenic.
That's true.
They beat Miami, but then they battle and struggle against teams they shouldn't have trouble with. But anyway, I mean, who knows? Auburn, that's probably a toss-up. They're not great, but
they're at home.
They're at home, right? And I don't know about Florida. So I mean, there's potential there especially if Boley comes out and plays the way he's played the last couple of games. Kentucky.
Well, the defense has got to show up.
Yeah, the defense has got to play.
They've got to show up.
Yeah, which they just have not.
No.
There's been a slide the last 3-4 games, and then a complete collapse against Tennessee.
Yeah.
But watching what's happened in the landscape of college football.
Well, Brian Kelly of LSU was the most recent. Did anybody get fired today?
I haven't seen anybody today, but I was just looking at the list, and I don't know who got fired first. Was it Billy Napier at Florida or James Franklin at Penn State?
I think James Franklin got fired.
He got fired first. Then Florida, let Billy Napier go. And LSU fires Brian Kelly and just throws $54 million. And I saw a funny quote, kind of thinking about the Stoops situation is, Jeremy Foley, who was the AD at Florida, and now is he the AD at LSU now?
Who are we talking about?
Jeremy Foley.
Jeremy Foley's retired.
Oh, did he retire? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, former Florida AD Jeremy Foley, his quote was, "What must be done eventually should be done immediately," meaning there's no point in waiting.
Scott Strickland, who was at Kentucky, was actually their sports information guy, who I got to know very well in that role. He became the AD at Florida.
Oh,
so he is the athletic director down there now, who hired Billy Napier. He also hired Todd Golden. So
so I mean, right now in college football, I can't remember in my lifetime there being this. Right now we've got
3 openings in the SEC alone.
Right. Yeah. And
you know who the big winner in all this is to me is Lane Kiffin, because Lane now can name his price.
Right. And so he's got, I feel like Lane Kiffin is going to either Florida or LSU.
Yeah,
it's
I think LSU might be the better job.
You're probably right,
and they are the one who the school who is most stupid with the money.
Yeah. That no doubt. I feel like he's got, and the thing is, people are like, well, why would he want to leave? Because he's got a potential chance of winning the national championship with Ole Miss. There's just a different level of money and resources available at both LSU.
Yeah, it would be the equivalent of, do you want to go coach basketball at Tennessee or Kentucky?
Right. It's like, yes,
both programs are good. Only one of them is great.
Right, and only one of them has never been to a Final Four. So
you would
there
have
you
to get
go.
that dig.
Yeah, I mean, I keep, when you see people, moaning about the fact that Tennessee's not considered a blue blood, I'm like, let's try getting to one Final Four before you ask to be a blue blood. It's kind of like being a member at Augusta. You don't ask to be one of those people. You get invited to be one of those people.
Yeah, you earn your stripes.
You earn it.
Earn, not given.
Yeah.
Back to Scott Strickland. He struck gold, no pun intended. Just realized with Todd Golden, who took him to a national championship in his third year, something like that at Florida. I could see Scott being one of those guys who would go after a Will Stein, an offensive-minded guy, some brash up-and-coming guy who is like, bring on NIL, bring it all on. Right. I'm all in on it. Yeah. I could see Strickland doing that. I could also see Strickland reaching out to a guy like Jeff Brom.
Yeah, I
think Brom is going to figure into some of these openings too, because I don't think Louisville can break the bank for him.
Right. I mean, I get, and we talked about it before, Brom's at his alma mater.
Right.
And that totally makes sense. But even though LSU or Louisville has made noise in college football over the last 8, 10, 12 years, they haven't been able to sustain or even get over that next hump, basically. And if you're a college football coach and you're wanting to be the absolute best, or you have desire to reach certain goals, I
don't know if it's Louisville.
It's not Louisville.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not. Just like it's not Kentucky.
Right.
You don't want to. I can see a dude coming from a D2 school or something like a Signetti, who makes a move and comes in and is really good.
Right.
But yeah, I for Brom, the allure of practically unlimited resources and a talent pool, I would think he would have to be high on some lists.
And if Brom were to leave, you could bet Louisville's going to go after Stein because he was a quarterback there.
Yeah,
which would make sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. As we get deeper into the season and we get closer to those league championship games, when teams are either out of the mix or they're not playing. Whatever. Sam Pittman's already been fired at Arkansas, Gundy at Oklahoma State, UCLA, Virginia Tech, Stanford, Oregon State, Colorado State, UAB, and Kent State, all looking for coaches.
And then possibly by the end of the year, you've got Florida State, Auburn,
yes.
Colorado,
yes,
Michigan State, Wisconsin, North Carolina State, and UK.
So
that's a lot of I saw an article today that talked about the fact that there's a lot of really solid jobs available or about to be available, and there aren't that many solid coaches.
Yeah. I mean, there is a supply and demand issue for sure.
Yeah, and you got to look at how like how Indiana did it.
Yeah.
They went and got somebody that you're like, wait a minute, who?
Right. And maybe they got lucky. Maybe they, even in their own wildest dreams, didn't imagine that Curt Cignetti would turn out to be as good as he is. But now they're on the hook with him for $93 million.
Good for them,
And if they were to fire him, guess what? They owe him $93 million.
Yeah, and you look at the coaches that are, a couple of the people I saw, we already talked about Brom, but you got Brent Kay at Georgia Tech. I don't think it would take whole lot to get him to move to a bigger program because – I think they've kind of caught lightning in a bottle right now.
He's offensive coordinator.
He's their. I don't know if he's their OC or if he's their head coach.
Yeah, I can't remember now.
But anyway, they've they've managed to put the right group of athletes together against the right schedule, pulled off a few things, and now he's a hot commodity. And then Vandy's coach, Clark Lee, he's going to have to be somebody that gets looked at by some of these big schools.
Yeah, and I'm almost of the opinion that Clark Lee doesn't leave. I think Vandy maybe gives him a bump and, makes it worth his while.
Well, and Vandy he could definitely tap into some alumni resources.
Yeah, I was going to say, plus of course he loses his quarterback after this season unless he petitions the NCAA again for another year. But it's going to be wild for sure.
There's a lot of dominoes left to fall in this college football season.
I'm still 51% of me believes that Mark Stoops will be back.
I think so too. I just think
the $38 million is a big enough number that they can't justify. And if Stoops were to say, you know what, I'm going to get rid of my offensive coordinator and bring in, the 20th guy in our 21 years here. Yeah. Being facetious, obviously, but I think it would be number 8 or 9 in 15 years.
Well, I mean, this is only maybe the second time that we've had the same guy 2 years in a row.
But I still believe that number is so big that Kentucky maybe can't do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, as a University of Kentucky employee myself, I see the internal emails about cost-cutting measures and things like that. So I'm pretty sure that the President Capilouto, who there's all kinds of moving parts in this situation. At any university, a major university, you've got your president, your athletic director, and then your head coaches of your two major sports, typically men's football and basketball. And Kentucky's kind of in an unusual situation in that the president of the university, Eli Capilouto, is 78 years old. Mm-hmm. Probably not.
He's not. I thought he was going to be gone before now,
right?
Because there were all kinds of wild rumors about him moving back to Birmingham, which is where he lived prior to Lexington. And
so you got him, and then you've got Mitch has been here for a long time.
We all thought Mitch was going to be gone by now.
Yeah. So the moving parts things that could happen here. Yeah. It's just there's a lot going on at UK.
I don't know that you want to replace all three of those people at the same time, which is basically what you would be doing.
That's about to happen, So it's hard to say. And the thing is, you got to be careful because it's not unheard of for athletic directors get hired and then come in and just they go ahead and get rid of people that they are not confident in.
Sure.
So Kentucky could hire a new coach, and if he doesn't have a great year, and then we bring in a new AD, boom, that guy could be gone.
And I think I've said this before to you. I don't think Mitch wants to fire Mark Stoops because Mark Stoops' petition, basically the way it worked when he was hired, he kind of put himself out there to UK. I won't say petition, but he kind of made it known, I want that job. And he took the job having never seen the facilities. The first time that Mark Stoops saw the stadium and saw the Joe Kraft Center was when he flew in to land in Lexington for his press conference. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a certain debt of gratitude, I think, that Mitch owes him. And for those of us who know Mitch on that level, he's a fair guy for the most part. He's never – I mean, I remember he called a press conference in the middle of the season to say I think Kentucky was like 3-8, and he's like, I'm not firing – or 3-5 rather. I don't know where I got 8. 3-5 saying, I'm not firing Rich Brooks midseason. And then Rich got it together, and I think they won their last 4 games and went to a bowl game that year.
Yep, they absolutely did. So – and that's the thing is, I would love nothing more than to see Kentucky pull out 3 of the next 5 because
I think they have too many injuries.
When you're as old as we are, we've seen so much Kentucky football, and Mark Stoops is the best coach we've ever had.
Yeah.
Which, take that for what
he's the winningest coach they've ever had.
I mean, he has. Sure. We have seen more success under Mark Stoops than we have under anybody else.
Trying to take the job at Texas A&M was a bad misstep.
That killed him.
He misplayed it. Didn't realize that the A&M administration and some of their power brokers down there wanted to go in a different direction. I think he really thought he had the job, and I think there was some kind of a verbal agreement that he had the job. And then the comment to UK fans, if you want to compete in the SEC, you got to pony up.
Yeah.
Those two things kind of nailed the coffin lid shut.
Yeah.
And now, back-to-back seasons where they're going to have losing seasons, assuming that it goes as scripted here in this year. It's just been a recipe for disaster, and there's just this growing. You can feel it growing.
It's Coach Cal all over again.
It really is. Victim of his own success. Yeah. You set the bar so high, especially with football, because the bar hadn't been set very high around there for years, and then suddenly you fall short of that, and this is what happens.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, long-suffering Kentucky football fan. That's what we are. But only other sports thing that we and it probably should have taken up a little more time, but the NBA this week got themselves into a little bit of a pickle with things that are going on. When you have one of your active coaches gets picked up by the FBI.
Head coach.
Yeah, head coach. Yeah, and Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
as a player, gets picked up by the FBI. That's not really a good look. I don't know much about publicity and public relations, but Chauncey Billups.
Money laundering and wire fraud is what I think the allegations and charges would be.
I mean, what I've read is this has ties. This is not just point shaving or something like that. This is outside of basketball. This is Chauncey Billups participating with the mafia.
Yeah, that's scary stuff.
Bringing in these unsuspecting wealthy individuals to play poker.
Basically to steal their money.
Yeah, and they don't know it, but these poker tables have been designed and engineered so that they can see the cards through the bottom of the table.
Wearing special glasses so you can see the backs of the cards.
Yeah, I mean, and there's just so many questions I've got. It's like, how much money is
not enough?
Not enough.
Yeah.
When you are a Hall of Fame player, now a pretty successful coach, you're making a good living, and you decide, I need a little bit more money. I think I'm going to get a side hustle with the mafia. I don't understand the thought process.
And now there are fans of the Trailblazers, where he's the head coach, who are posting video clips that they claim show Chauncey manipulating players' minutes, either subbing them in or out, depending on score and time. There was one clip where two of his starters, who were actually leading the Trailblazers in scoring for that game, like he took them out with 4 minutes left in the game, and Portland loses when they should have won the game, and people are claiming, well, this is proof that he was fixing games or manipulating the spread. So, it's Terry Rozier, the former Louisville player, who's a current player with the Miami Heat. He's involved in it. Damon Jones was another guy who I think the FBI got and, claims that he's giving inside non-public information, which is basically LeBron, and I think this is what he actually did. LeBron James is injured. He's not playing, or he's not going to be playing, but this number of minutes, you might want to adjust your bets according to that.
Yeah, and they also say that there were games where, you can make so many prop bets on like how many points or rebounds or whatever a player's going to get, that he like pulled himself out of a couple of games.
Oh, we're talking about Terry Rozier now.
Yeah, he pulled himself out of a few games to help whoever he had told, I'm not going to hit my number tonight, and here's how you're going to do it.
Well, he missed maybe half a season a couple of years ago, and people are saying, and again, I preface it by saying allegedly, that he pulled himself out of a game, and then Las Vegas caught wind of the number of prop bets that were going that were being made
in his direction.
Because and so Vegas flagged the bet. Well, the NBA then, according to people who claim to have inside knowledge, the NBA then suspended him for the rest of the season. Terry Rozier says he was injured. So you've got this whole he said, she said. The NBA now looks like they're hiding things. Adam Silver, the commissioner, is now supposed to speak in front of Congress. The NBA sent around an email to all the teams today saying that they're going to review the league policies for reporting injuries. Well, yeah, you better be doing something. But maybe this is a little too late.
Yeah.
The FBI may have the goods on some people.
Yeah, I mean, in the good old days, when high-profile players were caught gambling, they just sent them to the minor league baseball and had them try to play baseball.
I did see that. We're referring to Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm kind of glad they did because I was able to Dave Baker and I, we went to an SEC football media day. Football media day in Birmingham when Jordan was playing with the Birmingham Barons. And, oh, by the way, a friend of ours, Chris Snopek, was playing for the Birmingham Barons. So we're like, hey, you want to go over and watch a practice? And, Terry Francona was a manager. We'll talk to him too. Yeah. Jordan didn't want to talk to us, but we talked to Snopek about what it was like playing with Michael Jordan. And we got to watch practice and see number 45 out there loping around the outfield, shagging flies.
Yeah, I mean.
Anyway. Yes, that's another claim that people are making is that Jordan didn't give up voluntarily on his NBA career, that he was forced to sit out. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, because the Bulls would have won 8 in a row had Jordan not taken that little detour over into, and of course, Hakeem Olajuwon should probably send Michael Jordan a nice bottle of bourbon or something every year and thank you for my 2 rings while you were out. But I've always said when there's sports gambling and things like that, there's just way too much money involved.
Yeah.
And I don't care how good Vegas is. I get it if I go into a casino and I lose playing cards. But when Vegas is setting these lines on these games, and it's just mind-boggling how many of these games come within a half point of that spread.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. It's
pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's why there's
illegal,
all kinds of big,
whatever you
tall,
want to call
shiny
it.
new buildings out in Las Vegas.
Yeah. There's a reason that they can just bring a bulldozer in and tear down a casino and put another one up right on the heels of it.
At it.
Yeah, there's when you start talking about people making money, there's going to be illegal activity surrounding it, and especially if you have situations where people have the ability to control that outcome. I
hope the NBA isn't covering stuff up because
it's going to be hard to.
This administration will blow that up.
Yeah,
the FBI, they will blow that up, blow it wide open.
Well,
and shame on the NBA if they are.
Yeah, that's too bad. We'll see what happens with that. That's going to be. I'm sure that's going to be hanging over the entire NBA season because there's just too much involved to not.
Which would be a shame because there have been so many young players who, the first week of the NBA season, have just been jaw-dropping.
Yeah.
Their performances, like Wembanyama. I mean, that guy is 7'4" or 5" and playing like he's a guard.
Yeah, he's just ridiculous to watch him. He's another one. He's like a Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, he's not must see.
I love basketball, and I will flip on and watch a quarter or two of games that feature some former Kentucky players. But Wembanyama is one that will get my attention on a game that I wouldn't normally otherwise watch, just because it's like he's such a unicorn.
Yeah. And Cooper Flagg had a big night last night, and there are some really, really talented young players in the NBA.
Absolutely. We'll definitely be keeping up with that. And anyway, we'll shift gears a little bit, and we'll have a ton of music stuff to talk about. I got a text this week or near the end of last week, I guess, from Steve that said, it's like, what are you doing September 17th, 2026? And I was like, good Lord, I don't know, man. What? And that's when he sends me the link that at Louder Than Life in Louisville, Iron Maiden is going to headline the opening night of the 2026 Louder Than Life. So Steve and I went a couple years ago to catch the Foo Fighters. I got a feeling that we're going to be there this year to watch Iron Maiden because I've always wanted to see them. I've never seen them. I don't know why.
True.
But
and if you look at their schedule, I mean, they're only playing like 20 dates.
Yeah.
And Louisville's one of them.
Well, I mean, Louder Than Life is one of the biggest, especially
I think it is
especially
the biggest
metal
yeah.
music fests in the world.
And to me, that's just one of those bands. I've always been intrigued by them. I'm not like this huge fan of the music.
Same.
But individually, those guys are all college educated.
Yeah.
Bruce Dickinson,
he's a pilot.
He's a
flies.
pilot. He owns companies.
Yeah.
These guys are fascinating.
Yeah.
And I do like the music.
Yeah, they've got some bangers. That's for sure.
Yeah. And everybody knows who Eddie is.
Yeah.
So yeah, if they're going to make a stop in Kentucky, how can you not go see them?
Right. And this year, we've talked about this multiple times this summer. In Louisville, we have the Bourbon and Beyond Festival, and then we have Louder Than Life Festival the following weekend. They're both 4-day festivals. Mm-hmm. So Louisville just basically hunkers down, and they do music. I think Bourbon and Beyond saw over 250,000 people. I'm not sure what the final numbers were for Louder Than Life. But in 2026, they're flip-flopping the order. Louder Than Life is going to be the first weekend, and then Bourbon and Beyond is going to be the second. I'm not sure what the reasoning is behind that, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with this lineup. When Bourbon and Beyond announces their lineup, it's boom, here's all 4 days, full lineup. Louder Than Life kind of teases you. I mean, they had announced a week or so ago that My Chemical Romance is one of the headliners. Couldn't tell you. I mean, I've heard of them.
Right.
Couldn't recognize one of their songs. I mean, that's me shaking my fist at the cloud as an old man. But when they announced that, Iron Maiden's gonna be there, I'm like, all right, this is cool.
Yeah, now you're flirting with the big boys.
Now, if they can do Iron Maiden on, say, Thursday, and then we can drag Metallica back. Metallica did 2 nights at Louder Than Life a few years ago. I'd love to see them come back because I've still, for some strange reason, have never gone to see Metallica, and I would, given what's going on this year, apparently I would definitely rectify that situation. But little did I know that 17-year-old me listening to Metallica's Master of Puppets, that nearly 40 years later, I would still be, man, I'd like to see those guys, So Metallica is another one of those bands that I would definitely like to see.
If that's a bucket list, you need to check that off.
Yeah. Speaking of bucket lists, I'm going to knock one of those off in about a week and a half. I've got Herbie Hancock in Louisville. Herbie Hancock, jazz legend. So I'll be sitting front row for that show at the Kentucky Center for the Arts on, I think it's like the 5th or 6th, whatever that Wednesday night is, 1st of November. So I'm looking forward to that show. I bought tickets for the Railbird Fest, which we talked about last week. That's a festival here just about 20 minutes down the road from us in Lexington, and they announced their lineup last week. So I bought 2 tickets, two-day passes for that. Those are for my kids. If one of them decides they don't want to go, I'll go one day for sure. But
twist my arm.
Yeah, I said I'd have to start training now to stand in a field or whatever for 2 days. But yeah, there's good music all around at that show, at that fest. So I'd probably go. But yeah, on the kind of segueing from the Herbie Hancock deal, I had the vinyl show this past week in Louisville, Derby City Music Expo. And I didn't sell a ton, but I actually was in between customers in my booth. I would wander around and look at other guys, and I managed to pick up a Herbie Hancock album that I didn't have. I got my pickups this week were I bought about 8 or 9 albums, I think, and they were all pretty heavy. It's pretty much all jazz. I did get one that's a little bit more funk R&B. I was listening to when Steve walked in tonight. A group called Dyke and the Blazers, and if you like James Brown,
yeah, that's what I thought immediately.
That's who this guy sounds like. So yeah, I picked up also from Pops in Lexington this past week. I grabbed a Robert Johnson, who is one of the most legendary blues players of all time. So that was kind of fun to grab that one and listen to it. I still haven't made it all the way through. It's a 2 LP set, but kind of interesting talking about Robert Johnson and then talking about this group Dyke and the Blazers. I think Dyke and the Blazers would have become more well known had the lead singer Arlister Christian not been shot dead outside of a club in Phoenix in 1971. A lot of people claimed it was a drug deal gone bad kind of thing. But interesting thing about that was he was killed. He was 27 years old. So a lot of people
there you go.
Talk
the 27.
The 27 Club.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Johnson,
27.
one of the most legendary blues players of all time, 27 years old when he died. I mean, when you look at that list of people, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Kurt Cobain,
pretty eerie,
Amy Winehouse. The list of and it doesn't just stop with music. And I guess you could probably do this with a lot of different numbers. You could pick an age and say, who's the famous person that died when they were 41? But it's just really weird when you look at the level of talent at age 27. Jim Morrison,
yeah,
he's another one. It's kind of crazy to see the artist that passed away at age 27. So I don't know. Maybe that Annabelle doll thing could be causing some of that stuff. But yeah, so good music weekend for me. I have, with all the stuff I've had going on at the house here, I haven't spent as much time sitting and listening to music as I would like, but I'm gradually making my way back towards that. So
I need to do better.
Yeah, you need to buy some more vinyl.
I know.
The project we need to get going for you is your antique turntable console. We need to start working on that, and we may have to make that a group project. I could help. I'm
trying to jumpstart.
I'm a little handy. I could probably help Steve a little bit with work on that console.
Well, I'll just bring it out here and let you finish.
Yeah, I don't know. My wife, she might. I gotta do all this other stuff first. There's still drywall.
We should turn the camera around.
Yeah, we don't want to do that right now. We're at least heading in the right direction. But man,
hopefully everything will be done by Christmas.
I got a lot of work ahead of me over the next few weeks as things get rolling, because I've had excuses up to this point about why I couldn't get certain things done because there's other stuff in the way. Now those things are getting done. So. Shift gears a little bit to food. I went to Keeneland on Friday. We've talked about Keeneland a little bit here. Central Kentucky, Keeneland's one of the most famous thoroughbred racetracks in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I like to say you go out there and look at fast women and beautiful horses.
Wow.
That's what you do out there. But it's always a people watching experience for sure. And I'll post a picture. My tradition is always to get a chili dog at Keeneland, and I actually broke from tradition because they started doing a Keeneland dog, which has the Keeneland hot dog, but then they put burgoo on it, which they put the Kentucky burgoo, which
I do like the burgoo, but I don't like the hot dogs.
Yeah, I would love to have a bratwurst version of that. I'm a bratwurst fan. So, but anyway, I did the Keeneland dog with burgoo and banana peppers. Very good. But there's just too many people at Keeneland. I like to people watch. I don't like to people watch that many people. And it was nuts because it turned out to be actually a really beautiful day. I thought it was going to be really cold, but it turned out to be bright and sunny. But unfortunately, the first 5 races were maiden claimers, and you might as well throw a dart at the program to pick a winner. And our darts did not hit any winners that day, so we came home losers.
Have you ever eaten at the Keeneland track kitchen?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That is That is one of the great places to get breakfast.
Yeah, that's probably the best breakfast deal in Central Kentucky.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a problem saying that.
And basically, it's a very small place. Small being a relative term, but
cafeteria style.
Yeah, but it's open to the public. But a majority of the people that when you go in there are people who work on the backside of Keeneland,
trainers,
working in the barns,
grooms, hot walkers, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and occasionally, some people who know about the Keeneland track kitchen.
Yeah.
So I highly
it's a lot. It's really good. I mean, you walk in, it's like old school, like high school cafeteria.
Yeah.
You walk in, you get a tray, you get your silverware, you get some napkins, and then you move your way down the line and you order your breakfast. And a typical breakfast, I'll dig through my phone and find a picture to throw up here because I've done Keeneland track breakfast a bunch. But for like $7 or $8, biscuit and gravy, scrambled eggs, bacon.
And I want to say potatoes. They open at like 5 a.m.
Yeah, they open up early because, I mean, good grief.
Because people are at the track
by 5. The thoroughbred industry, there are guys at 5 a.m., they've already put in a couple hours.
Yeah.
I mean, especially the guys that used to work for like Dwayne Lucas, rest his soul. I just finished a really cool book, actually, audio book called The Greatest Gambling Story Ever Told. And it's about the winning season for Winning Colors.
Okay.
One of the first or one of the few fillies to ever win the Kentucky Derby.
And she was foaled right here where we live in Georgetown, Kentucky.
And the whole story focuses quite a bit on Dwayne Lucas, her trainer, and the groom who basically Lucas entrusted the horse to him. But they talked about the fact that Dwayne Lucas, his barn day started at about 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
So those guys, that's how they did it.
It's not a glamorous lifestyle.
Not at all. But, the Keeneland Track Kitchen, if you're in the Central Kentucky area, definitely worth a stop. It's not gourmet, nothing like that.
But
it's just
good
old country breakfast. Highly recommend that for sure. Also, I guess on Saturday I've had some good beers and beverages this week, so we'll throw up various pictures. But I had some good friends on Saturday evening who are closer to my age that they've been together for quite a long time, and then for some reason, right out of the blue, they decided to get married a couple months ago, or they decided a couple months ago to get married, which they did that Saturday night over at the Void Sake Company in Lexington. So went over there. And it was really cool because the groom, Sean, works for the Void Sake, and they do a lot of really neat stuff over there. And so as part of their wedding reception, they incorporated a whole lot of the vendors and businesses and things that do stuff with them. So they had one of the top food trucks in Kentucky called Daughters Southern did their reception food, and I had a chicken and waffles that was as good as I've ever had. I didn't take a picture. I fell into your trap. I didn't take a picture of my own plate, but
don't give me grief.
But I thought about it later, and I found a friend who had just gotten their food. And I said, hey, can I get a picture of your food here real quick? So anyway,
that's cheating.
I took a picture of my friend Emily's food. And what's funny is I've eaten off of this truck, Daughter Southern, I don't know, I couldn't tell you how many times. I had never gotten their chicken and waffles. And, man, that was a mistake on my part because now I'm going to be jonesing for it all the time. But good stuff. And it was just a fun night because we had a lot of people together that are friends that I've known. I made these friends through craft beer actually, and but one of the guys showed up and he brought in a 1969 JW Dant Bourbon. It was an Indianapolis 500 commemorative bottle. Post a picture of that. But you're talking a 56-year-old bottle of bourbon, and let me tell you, it was absolutely fantastic. So really? I was happy to be in the right place at the right time to get to taste that. That's one thing about bourbon, man, is if it was good, 60 years ago, it's still going to be good as long as it's been, capped and taken care of. So, yeah, good stuff for sure. But we got out and did a few other things this weekend. My youngest turned 21 this weekend, and she lost her wallet a couple months ago, so she didn't have a driver's license to take with her when she went out. Took her passport out in Louisville or in Lexington bar hopping the other night.
Did they let her go?
They started at
good.
12:01 a.m. Saturday night, Sunday morning.
Oh, wow.
And the first place that she stopped at, the guy looked at it and was like, "Wait a minute." He's like, "This is like right now." And Bella's like, yes, I'm 21 now. I'm 21 a minute ago.
That's
funny. So they let her in. But she wanted to go bowling for her birthday. So on Sunday afternoon, the family, my wife and both kids and Bella's boyfriend, we went to Southland Bowling Lanes in Lexington, which is the only bowling alley left in Lexington. We had a good time. We had fun. Then we went and visited the Transylvania University Pumpkin Mania.
On the steps of Old Morrison.
Yep, which is a lot of fun.
That's a tradition.
Yeah, it's not on the same level as the Pumpkin Mania in Louisville, which very few places are. But Old Morrison at Transylvania is really cool. They put the pumpkins out on the steps of the building, and it was a lot of fun. So
Old Morrison is the administration building.
Yeah,
at Transylvania, and it burned down in like the 1800s. It's got a whole history and story behind it. I've actually been beneath the stairs, and there are marble stairs that come out of the building. Beneath those are a crypt.
Yeah,
where a guy is buried.
Yeah,
and I've actually been down there. Since we're getting close to Halloween, might as well finish the story here. Students are allowed, a select few are allowed to go down and spend the night down there.
Transylvania University, I mean, a lot of people think when you hear that, you think that's a joke.
Right. No.
But it's a real deal university. Yeah. It's actually the oldest university west of the Allegheny Mountains. It was founded prior to Kentucky becoming a state, which Kentucky became a state in 1792. I think Transy was 1780s or something like that. But that whole Old Morrison area underneath the steps kind of thing, it has a role in the whole bat, because Transylvania, their mascot, they're the Pioneers. But over the last, 10 years or so, they have migrated and embraced the bat as their logo.
Yeah, because when people hear Transylvania, they think of Romania.
Yeah, but
Frankenstein.
The thing is, the reason they embraced the bat really doesn't have anything to do with that story. It's because there was a professor at Transy who thought maybe he actually did discover a new species of bat in one of the buildings. So
it all lends itself.
Yeah. So they ended up with a really cool logo. So that's, I got to support some pretty cool gear while M was playing golf for Transy. And anytime we would go somewhere, people would try to buy our gear from us, hats, because of the big bat logo.
That's funny.
Pretty cool. We'd roll into town with a few times the golf team got to take. Transy has a big charter bus that has a bat all down the side of it, and when the bat would roll into town, people took notice. It was pretty cool, a lot of fun. So anyway, I had some other good food today. I've talked about these guys on here before. Watan Mediterranean Grill in Lexington. If you are a fan of that kind of food, they had a special today that was a half-baked chicken. Well, no, it was fully baked. It was a half chicken that was fully baked. Plates that were buy one, get one free, and me and one of my pharmacy technicians took advantage of that. But just an incredible amount of food for what you pay. I love that place, so highly recommend. If you're in the Lexington area, check out Watan Mediterranean Grill. Those are good people over there for sure. Got anything food-wise?
No,
nothing
I'm
good?
hopeful to get out sometime this week and go check out some places that I've not been to. But no, I have not.
We are. I decided to take us back to revisit. Same as last week. Same but totally different, I guess. The beer we're doing tonight is the Other Central Waters anniversary beer that my friend Kurt brought me a week or so ago. This is the Imperial Stout, barrel-aged Imperial Stout with Marionberry and vanilla. Honestly, I don't get a ton of vanilla. It's there a little bit in the nose. The berry is definitely a little bit more prevalent than the beer we had last week, which was the base stout. I wouldn't be able
as much chocolate either.
Yeah, and I think the berry kind of overcomes that a little bit. Sometimes the berries have a tendency to add a little bit of tartness to those stouts. Very good. I like it a lot. But yeah, it does. The chocolate is dialed back a little bit. The vanilla is not. Vanilla is kind of tough because if you get so much vanilla in there that it's noticeable, then a lot of times it comes off artificial. But the vanilla can then also dial back some of the other ingredients. So still a very good beer. Very thankful to get to try that. I appreciate Kurt for bringing that one to me. It's good. I like it. We could, the other, I guess, beer news that actually just happened today, and I didn't, talk to Steve about this before, but we have had several Atrium beers on here over the year and a half. Atrium Brewing out of Louisville. Buddy of mine was one of the owners and co-founders. They announced today that they have sold the brewery. Not a lot of details have come out yet, but craft beer in general is on quite a bit of a downturn right now. It's been basically a runaway freight train for about 10 to 13, 14 years. But the last year and a half, there's been kind of signs that people's tastes are changing, just trends are changing. I mean, and I'm old enough that I went through the first craft beer boom in the late 80s, early 90s when we had a couple places here in Lexington that closed down and eventually you had the guys like West Six and Country Boy came along and on the new wave. But anyway, I hope the new owners at Atrium continue to brew the same quality stuff that Mark has been doing over there with Spencer and those guys. It's kind of, I have mixed emotions because I feel like this is not going to be the first brewery that I'm a big fan of that either changes hands or closes completely, because people are drinking less craft beer. And then the other beverage that's getting a lot of play these days are cannabis-infused beverages. So, it's interesting. The bourbon industry is kind of struggling right now. I think Four Roses, they announced this week that Four Roses is for sale. If you have an extra $1 billion, you can make it yours.
Yeah, I was really blown away by the asking price.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
With a B?
Yeah, but then on the flip side of that, you have Buffalo Trace in Frankfort, Kentucky, who I think is about to embark on an almost $1 billion expansion.
Well, they've expanded quite a bit just over the last 5 years.
Yeah, I think
built the new visitor center. It's a great place.
And I could be totally off on this, but I think the Four Roses majority owner is a Japanese company, and they're looking to I think they kind of see the writing on the wall right now as far as, the bourbon industry is taking a huge hit because of tariffs and exports, and I don't know how all that works. Right. I don't pay much attention to the economics of it, but I just know that they ain't selling as much bourbon as they used to sell. And
at one time, one of the statistics where there's 13 million people in the state of Kentucky, and there's 2 or 3 barrels for every person in the state.
I don't know what the population of Kentucky is right now, but there are still at least twice as many bourbon barrels in the state of Kentucky as there are people. So, and again, sometime in the next couple of weeks, we're going to dive a little bit into bourbon, what makes it bourbon, what makes it good bourbon.
Okay.
And we'll talk about some stuff like that. But I don't think we've got anything else. It seems like on the nights when we feel like we don't have a lot, we just wander on for a long time. I don't know how long we've been going.
It's all good. Kentucky is at Auburn in football Saturday and
possible win.
Hosts Georgetown. This will be the first game. I forgot to mention this. First time they've played Georgetown, the Hoyas, since that debacle in 1984.
Gosh, when they put the lids on the basket in the
Final Four, when Georgetown held Kentucky to like 13% shooting in the second half.
Kentucky made like 3 field goals.
Something to that effect, and denied Kenny Walker a national championship. Wasn't it Kenny?
Or was it the Twin Towers?
May have been Melvin.
I think it might have been Melvin and Sam Bowie. We had
remember.
2 7-footers. I think that might have been Melvin and Sam. I
remember watching the game though, and a guy by the name of Michael Graham completely took Kentucky out of its game. This guy was 6'8", bruiser, didn't hold back, and Kentucky just was a finesse team. And just couldn't take it.
They literally could not put the ball in the basket in the second half, cost them the game. So, I'm thinking there'll be a little different outcome.
I think that was Patrick Ewing.
Yeah. We'll. I think Kentucky will.
I think so.
I think we'll be all right Thursday night.
Yeah, John Thompson is not walking through that door.
Yeah.
God rest his soul.
Neither is Patrick Ewing. So
yeah, true.
So Malachi doesn't have that to worry about this weekend. All right. I guess until next week, we'll finish off this hefty beer, and we'll kind of just keep an eye on what happens in the whole Stoops situation and the NBA situation. Lots of stuff cooking. So until next time, cheers.